Alrighty. We should be good. Stream should be up on my side in around 4 minutes. 200 seconds, however long that is. I don't know if anyone wants to like calculate that out. We have BRO2, not to be confused with the other bros. This is BRO2 versus UNRV. Man, I wish it wasn't just UNRV. I wish it was like Unravel or something. That would be a much cooler name than just UNRV. Unless that's what it's meant to be. I don't know. You might have to tell me, MVP. Apologies if the audio is a little bit loud right now. I will fix it after the stream comes up on my side. Looks like we will be knowing our map very soon. Looks like our first map will be Hideout. One of my favorites, personally. I think it's one of the better maps. A very consistently offense-sided map. However, you can see defense pull off some pretty good plays, especially going for those roams on bottom floor and middle floor. Specifically bottom floor from like Waterfall or Wine Cellar. Sit back, relax, and we're just waiting for the last few players on UNRV to get in the lobby. Not sure what we're waiting on right now. It's taking so long for them to get players in, but hopefully it won't take too much longer. Right, looks like we may be going into a 4v5 for this first map. Hang on. Oh, sensitivity is never correct. There we go. Four v five going to the first map. UNRV, the one with 4. It does look like they will also be starting on the offense. Thank you to everyone in the chat for tuning in as we finally get into the first round of the first map. We will be starting on garage side, UNRV deciding to push in, and no defenders here. Hopefully this doesn't hurt them in the long run. No one in laundry either. Drone does go out and clears all of laundry before checking site. Hopefully they do notice that at least 4 of the 5 players are in here in B site. Util goes out, great throw, not quite catching any damage though. defense not playing too aggro, however Shadow is able to get that pick until it goes out, not quite catching him out though. Prodigy swinging here, trying to cover the plant. However, now it's a 2v3. Agent is able to take out Prodigy, and now it's a 1v3, 1v2 now. However, he will have to be careful of the player on the roam, but Agent 47 Insight is able to get the pick. Very interesting procs there. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Now going into the second round, we have UNRV going for a storage and gym side push. This is the usual push you see. A push does tend to be a tiny bit more difficult. However, once again, BRO2 is not holding any major outward holds. And they were able to handle it last time, but I wonder if it'll bite them in the back this time. Prodigy takes a lot of damage there, and Luna is here on the back. Shadow could be caught out. Oh, but he's holding the angle now. And that's first pick there. That's going to even out the numbers. However, UNRV is still low health-wise. Shadow does get another pick. That's going to make it more in their favor. Prodigy with another instant on wall now. EMP is stuck. They're going to have to either pass it up or wait for the instant to clear. However, Chicken Jockey in con is able to get the pick. Player on bomb could catch him out, but no. Player in con tries to get a pick, but can't quite win that. Chicken Jockey goes down. Third round, we're now on top floor. Hatch has been blown. And we may be seeing a split push coming out, or Skylight was just a distraction. We will be seeing an A-site push coming out here from UNRV, and utility going in. EMP is going to try to get planted, however that's some util going out. Commander almost died from that. Hopefully his teammate can cover, but no. Does get the refrag. Prodigy with the 2k. Shadow takes out one on the roam, getting the refrag for his teammate, but didn't quite reload. Now it's a 1v1. EMP is on the wall. Shadow's going to have to make a move. Chicken Jockey is holding the doorway and is able to get the pick on Shadow. They're also going to save that Vezin from their teammate. Pretty good round there from BRO2. In the beginning it was looking a little bit sketchy after that nade didn't kill the planter, but the several swing outs that denied the plant was very good, along with the pick to stop the plant. That was also very good. BRO2 in the lead right now, and they do rotate off of Garage once again. Very site-oriented defense here. However, the drone didn't check all of Garage, it went straight to site. Hopefully that doesn't hurt them, and it doesn't look like it will, but it's good to keep in mind that it is possible that there is a player in perhaps this back corner here or something like that. Store blocker, however, is a little bit of a pain in the side for UNRV. Wall is blown. It looks like they may be ignoring Laundry for now. Nade goes to back site, but Luna does not die quite yet. Stim is passed over. That will get them back to mostly full health. Trips take out the player on window, and Agent 47 is able to get Shadow. Not good so far for UNRV. Luna is able to get the pick on Kenny, and now it's a 1v4. Commander is able to get Luna. Thankfully, they do have a stim, though, because that was a very taxing gunfight. 1v3, 1 minute on the clock, and he has EMP and foam. If he really wanted to, he could try rotating over to a site. There is no defenders there. However, as I say that, one has rotated. Checking all the angles he can, very important. You never know where the defenders could be. Chicken Jockey sitting there watching theater door is able to get the pick onto Commander. Not a good start so far for UNRV. It's 3-1 right now, and they have been doing relatively well. They've been taking space that has been given to them, but they're just not winning their gunfights. And some of the utility that BRO2 has been using has also been helping them a lot. However, that doesn't mean BRO2's defense has been perfect. They have not been holding very much space outside of sight, and they haven't really been playing too aggro. That's not usually something you see on the NA side of Breachers. However, perhaps it's what works for them, and if it does, then they should continue. Drone going in, trying to clear as much space as possible. And it will clear out most of family room. Hopefully, UNRV uses this opportunity to take as much space as possible as early on as possible, because you don't want to wait more than 30 seconds to get foam on the first wall. Ooh, almost a bad throw there. Almost went under the door blocker. That would have been really unfortunate. However, they will be able to get foam on the wall and start the push. There is a player on shower window. We'll see if they can swing in at the right time. Ball is now blown, and they're going to have to be careful for the static. Interesting to have no one in tub or backside. No, never mind. There is a player backside, just no one tub. This will make it a tad easier for Commander is in sight now. He may be able to get the plant down. Oh, but his teammates aren't able to cover. Once again, UNRV is just a little bit too far back to cover the planter, and now they're suffering for it. "30 seconds on the clock, some utility goes out. AP does get planted, but Blaze there with the 2K is able to get the round win for them. That's a 4th round for Bro. And this is going to be really hard for UNRV to come back from. Usually you want to get at least 2 rounds on one half, and hopefully they can get this round because they are full buying this round and they will be able to get a fair amount of utility. However, will it be enough to fight the BRO2 full buy? They're going to be able to buy all the guns they want, all the utility to defend site as much as they can. We'll see if it's enough. Looks like we will be seeing another B site push here. Hopefully, Bro does play a little bit more outward. We do see a lot more utility than previous rounds coming out. So maybe the drone will be able to catch that out and protect their team. Doesn't look like... No, it has spotted it. Good. That's one of the main things to be looking out for. Utility and players. However, Shadow does not seem to have taken the drone's advice. Luna does go down on window, though. Very good to have a player watching that in the beginning. It's a very common peak. Wall is now blown, and it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for the defense here. Shadow gets one, always getting a trade off. Kelly takes out Always now. Now it's a 2v3 because Blaze just got Shadow. Ooh, bad utility. Commander gets that pick. Now it's a 1v3. 1v2. Commander going down. Now it's a post-plant situation for UNRV. Chicken Jockey is in a 1v3 clutch situation. He's already gotten one of those picks. He may be going for a save, though. No. He's peeking window, but Kenny is ready for it. That's second round for UNRV. very good round there from UNRV. They were able to take the space they needed and effectively get the post plant done, especially with Kenny being out here in the river. This isn't a very common place for post plant because, I mean, why would you expect the defender to swing a window? Granted, another common post plant position is here on the wall. However, he may not have known that EMP was planted over here. Or was it? I'm not sure. I don't know where it was planted. I wasn't paying attention, sorry. UNRV is now on defense, and they've already lost a Spectral. However, we do see a B site push, interestingly enough. You usually see an A site push. However, B seems to be on the table for BRO2. You really need to get this hallway if you're going to try to push B site, especially since it opens up so many angles and plant spots. However, as usual, there is a player behind Deathboxer. There's also a player on stairs that could swing out if they're not careful. Ooh. Blaze is able to get one and a lot of damage on Elite as well. So it's going to be unfortunate for them. And Blaze is able to get that pick. Always 8 gets another one. Shadow does get a trade off onto Agent. However, the damage is done. It's 2v4. Commander is alone on site right now. Shadow with 34 HP. Foam is on wall and it might be blown in a sec. Commander spot also might be going away soon. They're taking a long haul and getting wall blown will reveal his position to any attacker on Deathbox. However, they don't seem to be using foam. This could work out well for Commander. Ooh, but the wall bangs. Player swings out. Shadow is now in a 1v2. EMP is getting on the wall and Chicken Jockey is watching his teammate. That's also going to be an extra $300 in each player's pocket on the side of Bro because they got that EMP planted. Very smart choice to finish that plant, and that's going to set up Bro for round 8. Second round of the half. Round 2 of the half here, and we're seeing a bottom floor site. Bro's going to be pushing storage side. UNRV having a player here in storage to try to deny that. Grenade goes out. Shadow just barely survives. Instant goes out. Tries to get as much damage as possible. Blaze is able to heal from that. However, Elite upstairs is able to get one. Chicken Jockey refrags that. Hatch is now blown. Nade to Khan. It's a 2-2 split right now for the defense. Hopefully that's going to do well for them. Luna is able to get Shadow. And another swing is going to catch out Luna. Agent is pushing in. Gets a pick. Now he's going to have to get the EMP planted. Blaze does get a pick and Chicken Jockey on the hatch is able to get the last pick onto Prodigy. Very good attack there from Bro. That's going to put them on a match point. 6-2. Very dominant performance from BRO2 so far, and I have a feeling we may be seeing this in the next two maps. However, we're not quite done with this first map on Hideout yet, so let's save that. We may be seeing an A-site hatch push though. Not the most common, and UNRV doesn't seem quite ready for it. Shadow here on a very uncommon peak. However, it is quite dangerous if the attack doesn't check the angle. It looks like we will be seeing an upstairs push. UNRV maybe not quite aware of it yet. However, they do know they're not pushing B. UNRV a little bit wary of this A-site push. Perhaps they hear the foam, and Elite does rotate off of AB door. Player is in plant spot, however Shadow in theater is able to get a pick on always 8. Agent 47 is able to get Kenny, and Luna is able to get Shadow. The player on theater door doesn't swing out though. They're playing the long game. Going to start the EMP plant, and Commander swings out, gets the pick. Blaze gets Elite, and he also gets Commander. That's a 2K. EMP is on the wall. They're going to be able to get the plant down. Instant on both Con and AB door. Prodigy's running out of options now. EMP is planted to retake situation for Prodigy. (1v3) right now. Less than 30 seconds left. He's going to have to make a move. He's able to get a healing syringe. However, it might be too late. And Chicken Jockey is able to get Prodigy, winning them first map on Hideout. Oh shoot. Very dominant gameplay there from BRO2. They were able to very easily take space on offense and did amazing sight holds on defense. They were able to very easily keep control of the round, even with very little external roams. Great performance from both teams nonetheless. We do see Shadow double digits and Prodigy and Commander both at 6. However, Blaze and Chicken Jockey 10 and 11. Agent 47 also with 6 kills. Looks like the teams have decided what the second map will be. And I'm interested to see what it is. Just based on what I've seen from UNRV, I don't know if it is their map choice, but I believe we'll be seeing one of the newer maps, perhaps Mall or Ship. I can't read that from this distance. I'll just wait for him to press the button. Although it may be Shipper Mall. Or no. Looks like they have swapped sides. UNRV will be starting on the offense once again. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite them. Arctic. Personally, I think this is also a very good map. It seems to be one of the more balanced of all of the maps currently in the game. Oh. There we go. That's fixed. We will be starting on top floor, BRO2 on the defense. And pretty standard loadouts coming from both teams. Spectrals on across the board on both sides. And it does look like we may be seeing a classic B-site push. They will have to be careful for this roam. However, Luna, you're not going to be able to use that in a VRML match. It's considered a pixel walk. We are finally seeing some roams come out here from the BRO2 side. Perhaps they just have a different strat on hideout, perhaps trying to throw off the opposing team. They have gained control of Jim, and this is really going to start the push for UNRV. Next, they just need to take control of Green Hall. However, Luna is here. They're able to get Shadow, and that's going to start off the round well. There is a player in, what is that called? Library window. However, they will have to be careful. Prodigy is swinging sight, and Blaze's Sun is able to get another. Is that a 3K? No, a 2K. Okay. Blaze's Sun on a 2K right now, and now it's a 1v3 in the favor of BRO2. Kenny is on full health. They may be able to do something, because Blaze and Always are very low, both one tap to Spectral. So maybe they'll be able to do something. However, he is kind of forced. EMP is over there in Gym. And Always able to get Kenny, and pretty dominant first round there for Bro. Only 2 deaths on their side. And now we're on bottom floor. And we may be seeing a classic B-site push here. They seem to be doing all of the usual pushes, which I don't blame them. The ones that work, right? Does look like Bro is getting ready for that B-site push. However, it's never a good idea to ignore any sites, so there is a door blocker there. Player upstairs. Perhaps they're going to drone, but drones don't usually check this far up. Prodigy will be droning, however, I think they will be droning side, and that's going to give Agent a free roam. Kenny is able to get plays, and Agent is now coming in for the flank. Always is able to take out one, and Agent on the roam. Ooh, but Luna, their insight, is able to deny the plant. Gets a second one on Shadow, but not before Agent on the roam goes down. That round was a little bit closer than before. Luna and Always were very low. One tap to Spectral Body Shot, I believe even. So, UNRV is really getting used to this bro defense. So, maybe we'll see them play a little bit better in these next rounds. Looks like we might be seeing an A site push coming out here from UNRV. After doing all the usual meta pushes, we may be seeing a new strat. However, they don't have a drone this time, and that may allow Chicken Jockey to get this free pick. Or picks. However, no, they have a flank watch now. Utility goes out, however, it misses. Now an instant does hit. Luna is able to get Kenny. But Chicken Jockey on the roam here, taken out by Shadow. Excellent flank watch there. Flash goes out. Doesn't quite catch Always though. He's able to deny the plant. MVP takes out Luna. And now it's a 3v3. However, EMP is on the wall. They're going to have to make a move if they want to win this round. Always still here trying to deny the plant, but Prodigy is able to get that pick. EMP does get planted, and now it's a retake situation. Blaze swings out, however he's not ready for the player in the corner. Now it's a 1v2. Agent is on his own against two UNRV players. This has been the best it's looking so far. Agent is on 15 HP, and Shadow gets the pick there, winning first round for UNRV. 2-1 now. Looking to be a little bit similar score-wise to map 1. Perhaps we will see the same thing. Going into round 4. Once again, we're bottom floor. And looks like we will be seeing another B site push. However, once again, Agent is up here on top floor. They will have to be careful. Prodigy takes a lot of damage from a nade early round. It's not going to be good for the attack. You need as much HP when you're at a gun deficit. Granted, if they hit a headshot, you're almost guaranteed to die anyway, but hypothetically they miss that headshot. Hopefully they will have a flank watch this time. Does look like one might be going for that. Wall is blown. Player on bomb. Util being traded. Commander takes out always with a nade. Commander also taking out Blaze before going down to Chicken Jockey. Shadow also goes down. Chicken Jockey swings out, denies that plant. And now Prodigy is a 1v2 after taking out that roam. Prodigy stalling a little bit, trying to get his HP back, but he's in a 1v2. He's going to have to push up, especially since EMP is on wall. He's likely hoping that the BRO2 defense is going to get a little bit aggressive, maybe trying to get a pick or two. However, most teams, when it is a 2v1, won't get super aggressive. Approaching 30 seconds on the clock, Prodigy is going to have to make a move. Looks like he might just hold this angle, maybe trying to save that syringe and aural he has. That's going to give Bro their third round. Not looking too good so far. We're starting to see a little bit of what happened last map. Bro's running away with these rounds. Granted, they have been a little bit closer than on Hideout. Back to top floor. Looks like we may be seeing a similar push. However, Chicken Jockey here back in library. The drone doesn't check it. Looks like they may be caught out. Kenny almost hears it, takes him out. However, not before getting picked off. Luna now here in kitchen may pick out the player on window. But Prodigy is ready for it. They get the pick, and that's player advantage in the hands of UNRV. They now have control of Jim. Very good start. Ooh, bad grenade. That could have caught out Blaze. However, it doesn't quite, and Blaze is still safely in the corner. MVP does take out Agent Backsight, always is able to get Prodigy, and now it's a 2v3. However, they do now know that Blaze is in one of these corners. Blaze is able to get 2 more. Shadow's now in a 1v2. Shadow's able to get Blaze, who plays a little bit too aggro. Now it's a 1v1. And Shadow is able to get the clutch. Amazing aim there. And it's also going to be able to carry a lot of utility across as well. Both of those healing syringes. Very good performance that round from UNRV. They were able to get an early player advantage, and despite not being able to keep it, Shadow was able to keep that round to themselves. Man, all these players are using pixel locks. Hopefully they don't use these in matches. Player caught out very early with some damage. They now know someone's on desk though. It goes into Cubby, but Blaze is able to get that pick. Goes down, and that's going to start the push. However, it is 4v4. They didn't kill Blaze without any damage. Proxy goes off, hopefully revealing to the Bro defense that they're pushing B side if Blaze dying wasn't enough. Phone on both walls, trips are baited, and EMP is getting planted. Commander is able to take out Always, and that's massive player advantage because Luna is now also dead. One player in Con, one going for Rome. This is going to be a pretty difficult retake for Bro. Shadow with amazing aim now. Taking out Chicken Jockey. Now it's a 1v4. We'll see if Agent is able to get that pick. MVP goes down. 1v3 now. That is a rifle though. He could try picking that up. Looks like he will be saving that rifle. Hopefully he gets rid of the aural though. Oh, it is side swap. So saving the rifle doesn't mean anything, and Agent goes down to Commander. Now sides have swapped, and we will be seeing Bro on the offense. Perhaps we'll see UNRV do a little bit better here on defense. Despite being one of the more balanced maps, I do feel that Arctic does seem to be a little bit more defense-sided. And they're going into this 3-3, so Toffler and Bro doesn't quite seem to know what they're doing. However, it does seem to be a split push. Shadow does take out Chicken Jockey very early. And flashes go out. However, Shadow is able to get a second pick. That's a 1v1 on this window with 2 others on site. And Always 8 is able to get that pick. Instant goes out, takes out Commander. Commander takes out his own teammate, and now Kenny is on his own. He's going to have to be careful for the split push. However, Luna does have EMP here in A site. It may be smart for always to rotate through kitchen. EMP is getting planted, and Kenny is going to have to do something about this. Luna is now on the post plant. However, Kenny is at full HP. Luna and Always aren't even 50. Proxy goes off telling him where one player is. However, it may not be super helpful. Especially given the fact that there's so little time on the clock. Kenny is able to get the first pick. However, distracted by the EMP, he can't cover himself and EMP. And Luna is able to get the last pick. That's going to put Bro in the advantage going into this second half. Very close round there, but that diffuses what ended up causing Kenny to not be able to win the round there. However, they will be able to go into this round with quite a bit of money thanks to these picks that they originally got. So it's not like they're completely done for. However, Pro is going to be able to buy a lot more guns and utility because they won the round and got the EMP planted. We'll see how UNRV try to combat this, and it looks like we're already seeing trip mines and the sort. Looks like we will be seeing a B site push coming in here from Bro. Interestingly enough, no drone coming out for them. Going completely blind. Hopefully don't get caught out by this player back in hallway. Looks like they have taken space and not much utility they've run into yet. Still just waiting for the site push, UNRV is. Player back site does get a little bit of damage on Always though. And Kenny is able to get Luna, who stood right in front of the wall as it was blown. Not quite the best idea. Agent is able to defend that plant. And that's a 2K so far. MVP, however, in green may cause an issue. I believe that's MVP in green. The defender in green. No, MVP is in sight, and he's causing quite an issue for this offense. A 2K so far. Now it's a 2v3. However, Shadow in the hall is going to stop this post-plant defuse. And UNRV is able to get the defuse off. The Bro players were just a little bit too far from sight and not quite ready for that defuse. Going into round 9, we will be on the bottom floor bomb site. Last time, Bro was able to keep this site both rounds it was this floor. So perhaps we'll see Bro be able to take site both rounds. However, it does look like it may be an A site push. Does look like we will be going for an A site push, always swinging in, and UNRV might be aware of this now. Proxy goes off, that's definitely going to alert them that it is an A site push. However, there is static in the way. This might make it a tad bit difficult for the attack. There is a defender back site on bomb and behind the ice thing. However, Kenny is able to get one. Shadow also gets a pick. Blaze's Sun gets one. However, Luna goes down, traded out. Agent gets one. Commander takes out Blaze's Sun, and Agent might not have seen this rotate. But Prodigy and MVP are able to pinch the defender, or sorry, attacker. And that's going to win the round for them. Very good performance there from UNRV on that defense. They were able to deny entry into site for most of the round until the last player had to run in to get any picks. And that was very good from them. They were holding cross angles and they were able to win their gunfights, which is one of the most important things. If you can't win your gunfights, then you're not going to be able to defend site. And they were able to win their gunfights. And Bro was just not able to fight that. Looks like they will be getting a drone in now. Drops down and isn't gone. Oh, good. Mid-tier Ensign. However, Luna is able to get Shadow, who swung out again. Nade goes out. However, they are ready for that and step back. They do have Jim now, and they will be getting foam on wall. But Commander with those trips are able to take out plays, and that's going to even out the numbers a little bit. Wall is blown, and that's going to start the push here on B site. EP is getting planted, but Commander with the wall bangs is able to stop that. Luna gets the kill with the nade, and now it's a 3v2. Luna is going to get foam on the other wall. This is going to really open up an opportunity for EMP to get planted. Luna gets a head on the player, and MVP goes down. Now it's a 3v1, and Bro is playing very aggro, but Prodigy goes down to Chicken Jockey, and now it's evened out once again, 5-5. Very close map so far. Much different from Hideout, which was 7-2. Now we're 5-5. We may even see OT. That's a bit way to disable or reduce flashbangs on this side, right? Because it's not exactly nice. Going into round 11, we will be seeing a mid-floor and B-site push. However, ooh, Shadow swings out, but only gets one. Unfortunate there. Blaze is there for the refrag, though. Flashbang goes out, doesn't quite catch anyone. The rest of the players are very sight-oriented. They're getting the walls blown, and now both of them are blown. They're going to be able to get EMP planted pretty easily. However, unfortunate incident there from both teams. Blaze will be getting this plant down, and Chicken Jockey is there to hold the plant. However, they'll have to be careful for this play right here. Commander takes out Blaze, but refragged immediately. Now it's a 2v3. And now Kenny is in a 1v3 retake situation. Player on bomb, and Kenny is not able to get the pick. Very dominant round there from Bro. Even after the EMP was planted, though, UNRV was able to get picks. However, the Bro players were not playing alone, which is very smart. Why face in a 1v1 when you can 2v1 them? Going into round 12, UNRV is going to have to pull off this defense. They're going to want to put it to OT and win the map. However, they don't have the best economy right now. Going to have to put in some work. Nade goes out, won't quite catch any damage though. Instant also stops any aggressive pushers from swinging out the doorway. It's going to allow them to get foam on wall and start the push onto B site. However, they do seem mostly ready on the side of UNRV for a B site push. Commander is able to get one, but not before getting refragged. Blaze is in sight with EMP, and Agent swings out for one. Trip mines get Blaze, and that's a win for Bros. Very good performance there from BRO2. They were able to take space by using utility, and then very easily got EMP planted by swinging into sight very aggressively. That doesn't usually work, but UNRV was not ready for it, so they were able to get the picks. Very good performance from a lot of the players here, especially on BRO2. 11 and 11, 12 and 6, 11 and 10. Commander also 10 and 10. We do see UNRV swapping out a few players, perhaps getting a proper roster in. Could it possibly be the end of the scrim? Or are we just going to 3v3? Interested to see. We may be seeing 3v3. Going back to hideout. Perhaps just a 3v3 scrim. Ending off. Hang on, let me... BRO2. Out. Oh. We are going to middle floor. Very interesting that we are doing hideout once again. You would have expected a new map. However, Prodigy was the only UNRV player at the time. We will be seeing an A-site push coming out here from BRO. Good utility coming out from UNRV, denying the push. Ooh, never mind, it was not a good piece of utility. Did not land properly. Ooh, bad nade coming out. They will have to be careful for theater though. Hopefully they hear this. Chicken Jockeys is able to get one. Agent takes out one who swung out, and Prodigy goes down as well. Very strong round there from BRO. They were able to get the 3 defenders dead even after one of their players died. So, very good. I've also noticed that Luna there on BRO's side, very good with Aural. Definitely a very good trait to have. It allows you to buy basically your best gun if you are the best with Aural. It allows you to buy your best gun basically every single round. And definitely a very good skill to have if you can very easily beat a Vezin with an Aural. Unfortunate join there for BRO. Lofi joining the wrong team. Wall is blown though, and that's going to start the push for BRO. Flashbang goes out, doesn't quite get anything. That flash will get a player though. And H is in sight now. Math is able to take out Agent, and now he's already at storage door. Lofi gets Luna, however, does go down to Chicken Jockey. Now it's a 2v1. However, Lofi is 4 HP. Proxy goes off. That's going to let them know where the last attacker is. Stim is ready, and now Lofi is going to be pretty close to full health. However, Chicken Jockey also got a stim, but Prodigy swings out and gets the pick. Bros talking in chat while also playing. Very interesting so far. UNRV lost that first round pretty drastically, but that second round was very different. They basically turned it all the way around. Granted, Lofi did join partway through. However, we will be seeing an A-site push coming out, I do believe. Ooh, utility going out. Lofi's gonna take a lot of damage. Luckily, they have a stim. However, 2 players on the hatch. Are they going to be ready for this? We may be seeing a rotation to shower window. However, no, they crouch walk away. Luna is in sight now, and Math may not know it. And Math gets the pick. Luna could have gotten EMP down if they had it, but their teammate in bedroom does. And Chicken Jockey is downstairs, very spread apart offense. This could make it difficult. However, Agent goes down to Lofi, who has the Aurel. Now Chicken Jockey's in a 1v3 situation. EMP is down in bedroom. However, there is still a player in con. Ooh, Chicken Jockey is able to take out Math, who probably heard the cloaking device. However, still a 1v2. Anson goes down, and he didn't get any damage. He took some. Deals a lot of damage to Prodigy there. However, he's going to have to be careful for the player behind him. Chicken Jockey's best bet is probably going to be just to save his Viper here. He's able to get the pick and might take these stims. But Prodigy is able to get him while he's looking for those stims. Not the greatest timing. Not sure what you mean, Crazy Lisa. Anyway, we are going into round 4. Middle floor once again. Perhaps we'll see UNRV holding sight this time. Very long peek there. Luna is able to take out Lofi very early. However, the defense left a stim there. Not the greatest idea to just leave a healing syringe on the ground. However, maybe they have a plan. Baited by the decoy. Allows him to take a little bit of damage off them. Math is able to get the pick on Agent 47. Luna goes down to Math as well. A 2k there. Head dink. Prodigy's very low now. Math swings out, and that's the equivalent of an ace in a 3v3. However, Prodigy TKs, interestingly enough. Hopefully he gets his teammate a rifle. Oh, never mind. He is buying a Canuck. Not sure why he's not taking the rifle from Math, especially when he has basically max money, but it is the hot dog Canuck. Can't get much better than that. Looks like we may be seeing a B site push coming out here from the Bro squad. Interesting proxy placement. I don't usually see that. However, perhaps it works. Ooh, crazy Lofi with the 2k right off the bat. Unfortunate for Bro. Now it's a 1v3. Player jumps out downstairs now. Math goes down to Agent. However, Prodigy swings the long angle with a Canuck. Hopefully he realizes that there's actually no one on site right now, especially since he just jumped out the window. Hopefully he hears those footsteps, grabs the MP, and runs to site. Ooh, he might be a little bit late for that. Just do a little bit of damage to him. Thankfully it's not too much. However, Agent picked up the Canuck, and a 1v3 clutch there from Agent. Unusual play there from Lofi. Jumped out the window down to bottom floor and then came back up. Not quite sure why. Perhaps trying to check for EMP or something like that. But I don't know. A 3-2 in the favor of UNRV. A little bit different from what we saw last time. Perhaps Blaze being gone, and also, who was the other one? I don't remember actually. I don't know. Some of their players are gone now, so. Ooh, Lofi gets first pick there on Chicken Jockey. Not quite sure where he was. Decoy in A site though. Holding up Luna. Two v 3 now in the favor of UNRV. Looking very good right now. Does look like Agent is rotating, however, UNRV might be ready for that. The player on window might have caused enough of a distraction that it worked against them. That's 2k there from Luna. Now Luffy is on his own. Not quite the best decision to shoot out the door blocker. However, gets the job done quickly. Now it's a 1v1 because Agent didn't stick the plant. They peeked up for the kill. And Luffy goes down to Luna. 3-3. Looking a lot like Arctic so far. Not the greatest plays there from Bro, but they got a few rounds in, and it is slightly different playing in a 3v3 because there's not quite as much you can do. And after side swap, we're now on top floor, Bro, on the defense. Math, the only one not going spectral. However, we have seen him do pretty well with Cyclone. Hatch is blown, and there is a player over here on shower window. Hopefully they're ready for that. Playing very outward here on the Bro side. One player in bedroom here, and 2 in family room upstairs. Shower window now broken. Flashbang not going to do much. Neither of them. However, he is running in. Chicken Jockey gets the pick. And unfortunate there. Only a little bit of damage from both sides. Math gets the refrag for Luffy. Now it's a 1v1 because Math just got a 2k. However, he doesn't have EMP. Not quite sure where it's down right now. Perhaps it's under hatch. It is under hatch. He didn't grab it on his way to site. The timing. Math is able to grab EMP from right under his nose. He might get it planted. Gets it planted, and now it's a 1v1. But Agent is able to get the pick and defuse the EMP. Plenty of time remaining, and Bro is now in the lead with a team ace as well. Interestingly enough. We're now on middle floor. Chicken Jockey and Luna both going for Aural. And Agent 47 sticking with Spectral. Luffy seems to be sticking with Spectral as well. A Viper and Omen also coming out. Looks like we may be seeing a strange push here. Perhaps a drop down skylight. Maybe even swing in storage afterwards. Interested to see if Agent will hear this. Not quite sure why they shot out the windows, however, perhaps that's part of the plan. The defense is a little bit ready for this, though. Excuse me. One is piano side, and one is in garage already. Several players upstairs, however, not quite pushing sight yet. Math is going down the stairs, however, could be a little bit dangerous with Agent over their theater side, especially since... Oh no, it's not a rifle, okay. Agent takes out Math there from theater, and now it's a 2v3. However, Luffy is aware of Luna there in storage, I believe. Agent takes out Prodigy there in theater, and now it's a 1v3. Luna does go down, but not without bringing Luffy to 19 HP. It's going to be very tough for Luffy to come back from. Luffy might not be ready for this player here in the corner. However, he does get EMP and a better gun. Ooh, the timing there. Even if Luffy had won that gunfight, the player there in garage would have been able to get the refrag fast enough. Rose is very close to match point right now, and they have 3 roams. Very interesting. This might just be the best round for Math to decide to go through a window. Or just like the whole team to go through a window. Ooh, very interesting play there from Luna, and that gets him a 3K. Flawless there from Bro. Luna jumping out from top floor and then jumping back in the window. Crazy play, putting them to the top of the leaderboard. For a moment, I thought Bro wasn't going to be able to win that round, but Luna surprised me there. It's been so long since I've seen a play like that. You just don't see that kind of push coming out in comp. I guess that says what kind of match this is right now, but 3 roams is still pretty crazy. Another interesting play here. Player down in wine cellar, likely trying to wait for a downstairs roam possibly. However, doesn't end up happening. They will be pushing upstairs. We may be seeing a hatch play coming out. However, no foam. Luffy is able to get Luna. However, they will have to be careful of the player on stairs who gets the 2K. Math is able to get 1, but now it's a 1v1. He's half health. Agent has a rifle. It's going to be very easy for him to get the pick. Going to have to be careful of Theater there. Ooh. And Bro wins map 3. Math not quite ready for the swing out there. Pretty good match there. Agent able to end up going double digits, fragging above Luna there. I'm not sure if they're doing another match. However, I'm going to stop the cast. Thanks for tuning in if you did, and I will see you in the next one.